Welcome to Forbidden Planet TV. I am Andrew Sumner, and here is one of our frequent recurring guests, the one, the only, Chip Zdarsky. How are you,
I'm
mate?
pleased. I'm pleased to be frequent.
Yeah, I am also pleased for you to be frequent because, as you know, myself and everybody who works at FP, including our mighty head book buyer, Rob Pontefract, big fans of your work, mate, across the
Oh, awesome.
board.
Cool.
And we're very excited about your latest DC project, which is, I guess, the DC project. You know, it's the new
Yeah.
as the new regular writer on Batman. What does that feel like, mate?
It's surreal. It's mostly surreal just because nothing in my life has changed except the words that I'm typing. You know, it's like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay, yeah, I've got the biggest book at DC. Okay, well, it's still just a script. I'm still just sending in the script, and I get paid for the script, and I move on to the next one. So it's a little weird because I recognize it's a bigger deal than maybe it is in my head because I'm doing more interviews and showing up in magazines and stuff. But also, I live in the woods and I type. Like nothing about that has changed.
I guess in terms of retaining your sanity, that's the way you have to look at it, right? You know, you have to keep it all in perspective.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, DC does remind me every once in a while that like, oh, the success of the company relies on this book. So I'm just like, okay, all right, maybe I should think about that more. But yeah, you've got to put that out of your head when you're writing, or else you'll definitely lose your mind.
I mean, it would seem to me that one of the many brilliant things about writing Batman is that if you ever get into that inevitable question while you're grocery shopping or in a bar or something or whatever, you know, a couples retreat, somebody asks you what you
Yeah,
do, and you go, "I write comics," and then you go, "Oh, would you write anybody I would have heard of?" You know, it's that
yeah,
you're beginning to rack up loads of great answers to that question, right?
yeah. It's funny. I was talking to a fellow comic writer the other day just about career stuff, and the writer was like, I part of me wants to stop doing like these big company books, but like I want to be able to say, oh, I write Spider-Man or I write Batman when I'm at a party. Like, yeah, okay, I can kind of see that.
I completely get that. So, with regard to this great new ongoing Batman series that just started with issue 125, available from the links attached to
Mhm.
this conversation. Lots of
Yeah.
beautiful variant covers, by the way, we've got in stock for this.
Oh yeah.
Um, what's been the genesis, and what is the tale that you're telling?
Well, because I'm inheriting the title,
Yeah,
I'm really playing with a lot of stuff that James Tinian the Fourth
yeah.
set up, which is it's a bit of an older Bruce Wayne, a bit more diminished in his financial holdings, which I think is a really interesting place to be. So it's kind of about his mortality um, and the fact that he has so many other characters that are kind of like in his orbit now, like all these like Robins and past Robins and stuff, all kind of fighting this one man war. It's no longer a one man war. So what responsibility does he have to them and their happiness? um, so yeah, so it's a lot of kind of big questions for Bruce Wayne kind of going forward. So yeah, combined with the age thing, um, yeah, yeah. I don't want to give too much away, but
No,
uh,
I no, I
but it all plays
understand.
out. Yeah,
I mean, it's fascinating to me because as a lifelong Batman fan, and that's a
yeah,
character who, until maybe the last 10 years or so, is pretty much preserved in aspic. You know, the whole orphan myth is a big part of who he is, but
hmm
somehow Batman has ended up out of every uh, DC character, it seems to me, being almost like the ultimate family book. That's exactly what it is a family book about a ton of relationships and this kind of interesting father figure.
yeah, yeah. And that's it's such a strange place for that book to be, because out of all the DC characters, he's the one that's supposed to be the most kind of solitary. Like, there's always a debate whether he should have a Robin or not,
Yeah.
um, because he is so focused on his own kind of mission. But now there's so many characters in Gotham all kind of at the same level. Like they beat people up with sticks. Like it's a very weird kind of the power level is interesting to play with as well. Like we introduced a new villain called Failsafe. And not to give too much away, but there's going to be some fighting, and it's like, oh, everyone's in over their heads here. Like this is the kind of character that would go up against Superman regularly, and now it's just like, yeah, it's a bunch of characters who are smart, but they're just throwing little knives at this robot. Like, it's not like beating up the Riddler and his goons.
Yeah.
So I find that interesting too, just the fact that like Gotham's always kind of at a certain level when it comes to its superhero population.
Yeah, no, I think that is fascinating. And
Yeah.
who's your art team on the book, Chip?
Oh yeah, Jorge Jimenez is the main artist, and he's carried over from James' run, but he's kind of
Yeah.
tweaked the style a bit. And oh my God, it's so good. It's just so good. Like I'm looking at stuff right now, and like I can't show you, but it's everything he does is just so beautiful. I can't get over the level of work that he's contributing here. Yeah, because when we started, I was like, I didn't have reluctance about Jorge as an artist, but I have reluctance about the idea of like having kind of a bold, fresh new start, but carrying over the artist, no matter how good they were.
Yeah.
So I told him like, we're going a bit darker with the scripts, and he's killing it. Like it's my favorite of his work, and that's saying something because all of
Wow.
this stuff is
Yeah.
so good.
I mean that is high praise indeed, and I think artist praise coming from you because you are a writer artist, for you
I,
to say, well, man, I love this person's work. That's
yeah, I'm nowhere near that level, so it's very easy for me to be like, wow. And Tomo More is handling the colors on the book, also kind of carried over and also kind of stretching themselves into kind of new territory with the color palette. Really beautiful stuff. And we have a backup by Belen Ortega, um, dealing with Catwoman. That's also just beautiful. It's yeah. I'm incredibly lucky. Like one of the nice things about a title like Batman is it really attracts the best of the best, and also me.
yeah.
So I'm just like I get to kind of bask in their glory, and they make all the stories so much better. Yeah. It's I'm incredibly lucky.
I mean, now that you're on Batman, and there's that Ortega backup strip, or
Hmm.
Catwoman's beautiful. I was thinking the
Yeah,
other day, actually, when I was reading that, is like I was playing that pure like fan person game of creative teams you'd love to see, you'd never be able to. But it
yeah,
strikes me that somebody that you would have worked really well with is Darwin Cook.
yeah. And also, I mean, Darwin was like he was such a singular force. I think he worked best when he was just kind of doing his own thing off on his own. Like I think New Frontier is a masterclass in comic book creation, like
Yeah,
right from the get go. Um, yeah, I only knew Darwin kind of a little bit in the Toronto scene,
yeah.
um, back in the day, but even just those encounters, I'm like, oh, you are your own guy. Like I couldn't actually picture working with him. I could picture being like, hey, here's my idea.
Yeah,
Go make it. And maybe I'll
yeah,
I'll put some words in after. It'd be
yeah.
more like a Stan Jack kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that is a fair point, mate. Yeah, that's a very fair
yeah,
point. Yeah, I mean, you're right. His Sparker books again. Even though that's
yeah,
adapting somebody else's work, that's a really unique
yeah,
sensibility. You know.
yeah.
But I mean, I guess what I was going for though, was kind of a sort of backhanded compliment, which is, I think your Catwoman backup strip is really successful.
Oh, cool.
I really enjoyed the first one. Put it that way.
Oh,
So
thanks. I mean, I'm mostly just playing off of what Teenie Howard's been writing in the main Catwoman series. Like
yeah.
she's awesome, and having worked with her at Marvel and being able to work with her again at DC and having the books kind of like kiss a little bit here and there has been also super satisfying.
Oh yeah, no, I believe it. Before we go, mate, without giving too much away, because I know that's I'm not into that for all the right reasons.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
who is there within the Batman universe that you haven't had the chance to work on yet that you would love to work on?
As a character,
Yeah,
um, that's a good question. I mean, there's a lot coming up, but um, Ooh. I guess Jim Gordon.
Yeah.
Jim
Okay.
Gordon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always loved his relationship with Batman, and if I get a chance to kind of explore that a bit more, that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome. And
Yeah.
Batman 125 and onwards, all available for order and pre-order from the links attached to this conversation.
Links
And
attached.
right here, right underneath the screen here, same bat time, same bat channel. And thanks for joining me today, mate. It's always great to see you.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
If you're enjoying watching Forbidden Planet TV and you're enjoying watching us talk to the world's most interesting and accomplished filmmakers, authors, artists, musicians, creators, subscribe right here. See you soon.